Hello, everybody. Brian Milam and Jennifer Palumbo. It's that time of the year. The college basketball season is over, unfortunately, which is when Kentucky and their Wildcats begin their annual migration to the NBA.
And this could be an unprecedented move this season. More than half the players on the UK roster could be chosen in the draft. It comes up June 25th. John Calipari announced on his radio show Tuesday night that 6 or 7 Wildcats could be leaving the program to pursue their dreams.
A news conference has been set for 2:30 this afternoon at the Joe Kraft Center on the UK campus, and you might recall that's where the announcements came after the 2012 NCAA championship season when Anthony Davis, 5 of his teammates, they announced that they would be leaving, and more today maybe.
We're expecting to hear from Devin Booker, the Harrison twins, Andrew and Aaron, Dakari Johnson, Trey Lyles, Willie Cauley-Stein, and Karl Anthony Towns. And if all 7 go, that would be a new record for players chosen from one school in a single NBA draft. Of course, Kentucky holding the current record of 6, as you mentioned, 2012.
Coming up in a few minutes, we'll have an exclusive interview with John Calipari on this special day, as well as the players who are announcing this afternoon. Let's head over to the Kraft Center right now, where Rob Bromley and Dave Baker are standing by.
Well, Jennifer and Brian, everything is set to go here, and the chairs are all set up.
How many count up there?
There are 8 of them.
Yeah.
So I figure that's 1 for Cal and 7 players altogether. Dave, this is quite a day.
It really is, and I think the way that this day is going to go down, I think Cal is going to try to do what he's always done, and that's make it a day of celebration, because as he has said before, and it was something that ruffled some people early on, was the fact that he wanted to help these guys get to the next level, and he believes that's why he gets them here. And so everybody's kind of been going about their normal business. I just talked to Karl Anthony Towns, who had gotten in a workout, and I've seen the Harrisons in here. And this is just the next logical step. It's tough for fans who enjoyed what this incredible team did so much, but it's the next step and not a big surprise.
No, and you said it right there. It doesn't come as a big surprise. So much of the attention was on the tournament, the postseason. It doesn't come as a big surprise.
When you start looking at things objectively, it really doesn't. But, you know, fans are fans, and that's great. And I think probably when they looked at it, they were hoping beyond hope that maybe a couple of these guys stayed, but it looks like it'll be a pretty clean sweep.
All right, we'll hear from Cal in just a moment. He's going to give us a few minutes. We'll talk with him, but for now, let's send it back to the station, Jennifer and Brian.
All right, thank you, Rob and Dave. And Willie Cauley-Stein, the first Wildcat to all but announce immediately after Kentucky's season ended at the Final Four. He implied he had played his last game in a UK uniform.
And as you know, Cauley-Stein returning because he still had goals to reach, specifically winning a national title. And although the Wildcats came up just short, Cauley-Stein had the kind of season players can dream about. He was at a consensus All-American, SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and was on the watch list of the top individual player awards. And Willie had his best game, without question, came against Texas in that brawl back in Rupp Arena earlier in the year. He had 21 points, 12 rebounds. Willie on the season averaging just a shade under 9 points a game. He had moments where he did not do his best offensively, but defensively, his presence was always there. He's the only guy really on this club that can guard all 5 positions at some point. He could go 20 feet out and guard a point guard because he's 7 feet tall. He could do a little bit of everything.
Yes, and his dunks that caught the attention of so many, and you know, you mentioned the defense. He had some great offensive moments as well. Where do you see him going in this NBA draft?
Well, the one thing that he must improve, where he goes, as long as he's a lottery pick, I'm sure he doesn't care, or the first round, but he's got to improve that mid-range jumper. We saw flashes of that during the season where he improved his free throw shooting tremendously, but if he can hit that 15-footer, he's going to be extremely dangerous.
I'm looking at ESPN's latest numbers here, and Willie Cauley-Stein they have as the 7th pick in the NBA draft. So that's, of course, those numbers could change at any time. So let's move on to Karl Anthony Towns. Looked like the freshman that he is at the beginning of the season, but by tournament time, one of the most dominant low-post players in all of college basketball, expected right now to be the top pick.
Yeah, that would be a heck of a thing for UK. Freshman of the year in the SEC. A number of all-freshman teams named 3rd team All-American as well, and Towns a first-team All-SEC selection. We have more. He was named most outstanding player in the Midwest Regional, and the reason the Wildcats got to the Final Four was his play against Notre Dame.
Yes.
He was the biggest man-child the Wildcats have had in years. And I remember saying on the highlights that night, no, my apologies to Dan Issel, but this horse was being fed and fed often. His blocks, as you saw right there against North Carolina, this is my favorite of the year against UCLA up in Chicago. Just don't do that. Just don't do that. He was an exceptional player. He could hit the outside jumper if necessary, good from 15 feet, like we see right there. And he was just a dominant ball player inside, averaging 10.3 points per game this year, had 88 blocks, just a phenomenal young man. And he liked to flex his muscles a little bit, especially the UK game. He got that and one. And just a wonderful player.
Absolutely, and a wonderful young man as well. So it'll be fun to watch him playing in the NBA as well.
So another true freshman who saw his stock skyrocket as this season unfolded, Devin Booker. He got off to a cold start with his outside shot, but then began to heat up and stamped himself as one of the top 6 men in the country.
And in fact, he was named the SEC's 6th Man of the Year, also making the SEC All-Freshman team, and was a finalist for the Wayman Tisdale Award. He won the league's Freshman of the Week award an incredible 4 straight times. UK fans hoping that Devin Booker might be the one who would say he would come back. His friendship with Tyler Ulis, they were hoping that would be a factor, but it appears that he is going to be leaving as well.
And you know the players look at the mock drafts. They are only human. Cal says they're not robots, and I'm sure a lot of UK fans, they want that loyalty of stay 1 another year, stay 2 more years. But if you are all but guaranteed a first-round selection, you have to go. Booker, a phenomenal outside shooter. We saw him get hot in spots that I thought was maybe some of the hottest streaks in the history of UK since the three-point line came into existence in 1987. He was just lights out, hitting 41% on threes. There was a stretch, I think he was at 66%, something like that, over about a 5-game stretch. And he's the 6th Man of the Year in the SEC. Pretty darn good ball player.
And the mock draft has him going 19th right now.
Yeah, not too bad. Stay with us. Coming up, more on the Wildcats who might be moving on.
They will make their announcements live, and you'll see it right here on the UK Sports Network. Welcome back to live coverage of the UK News Conference. Coming up in just a few minutes, John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats making their announcement regarding their future and the NBA. We know that there are 8 chairs. We are presuming 7 for the players and 1 for Coach Cal. So we will find out.
Yeah, in just a few minutes, we will hear from Coach Calipari as he is scheduled to speak with our Rob Bromley coming up shortly. Now, among the players that they will be talking about, sophomore guard Aaron Harrison, 2nd team All-SEC this year, the member of the Conference All-Tournament team and the Wildcats' leading scorer. He was the preseason SEC Player of the Year. He had a couple of performances that were tremendous. The first one that really saved UK's bacon coming against Ole Miss in that first SEC game at Rupp Arena. He had 26 points, and then on the road at Georgia, which UK had to rally in that game, he had 23 points, but he will always be known as the guy who hit 3 of the biggest shots in Kentucky history last year in leading UK to the national championship game.
And he tried his best in the Final Four, but it just wasn't going to happen again this season. But averaging 11 points per game, you mentioned the leading scorer for this team, but at this point, he is not in the talk of being drafted in the NBA draft.
Yeah, not even drafted at all. We're talking the first 2 rounds, so he's looking at a potential free agent signing. He hit more 3-pointers than anybody on the team, and I think with the way we bragged about Devin Booker all year, the way he could shoot, it's Aaron who outdid him by 1.
Andrew Harrison, his brother, also struggled early in the season, but really turned it on around the first of the year.
Yeah, Andrew leading the Cats in assists and carrying a lot of the scoring load late in the year, landing on the SEC All-Tournament team. Andrew, as we saw him progress last year, we saw his body language improve a lot. We saw his leadership skills improve tremendously. He is right now selected, if you go by the mock drafts, as a late 2nd-round guy. The DraftExpress.com had him at 53 going to the Cavaliers. And if you did get picked by the Cavaliers, you get to play with the greatest player in the world right now. That wouldn't be too bad. Andrew, he has got to be the most maligned UK Wildcat over the last generation or so. so much was expected of him, and he did a very, very good job despite constant criticism from a lot of people.
And Coach John Calipari coming to his defense on multiple occasions.
Gosh, yes.
The national media particularly was hard on him as well, but he persevered, averaging 9 points a game, 139 assists. So of the two, for whatever reason, his stock has increased while his brother's has fallen.
Being a point guard means a lot. Trey
Yes.
Lyles was power forward, playing in a small forward spot this year, which made him an extremely difficult matchup problem for just about everybody. His mastery of the mid-range jumper also made him a handful to cover. Part of the reason he was named All-SEC freshman, and that young man was just great, I thought.
Coach Calipari called him the X Factor. He said whenever he needed him to do something, he was there and he stepped up. And Trey Lyles said he relished that role, and that was something that he embraced and stepped up in a lot of big games.
You know, even Rick Pitino said if he had one guy that got away, it would be Trey Lyles. Of all the people that he's recruited, Trey Lyles, he wished that he had him. Trey Lyles averaging just a shade under 9 points. His versatility, just incredible. He could hit the 15-footer. He showed early in the year he tried to shoot some three-pointers, didn't do so well on that, so that's certainly one thing he will get better at the next level. But he was so good defensively. He could, multifaceted player. And where's Trey Lyles? Where is he in the middle of the year? Well, he showed up. He showed up quite well. Let's go right now to the Joe Kraft Center, Rob Bromley and Dave Baker.
Well, right now we're here with John Calipari as he has joined us for just a few moments, Brian. And Cal, let me ask you how you feel right now. You know, you spent anywhere from 3 years to 2 years to one season with these guys. How do you feel?
Well, I feel good. I mean, we did a lot of research for them. They still have their decisions. Some of them are probably formulating. They did it last night or this morning. But, you know, you got a group of kids that deserve this day. What they did together, how they shared and sacrificed and were selfless for each other. These are the things that come about. You all benefit, and they all have.
Tell us about what you did in the process. What was your part in the process of their decision to go or not go?
You first of all, you get the information, and we probably talked to 20, maybe more of the NBA teams. We give them the information, we give it to their families, but we also have the families call the NBA directly. You don't want any confusion about what is being said. Talk to most of the parents, and again, the biggest thing they have to understand, whether you choose to come back or leave, I'm with you. I'm going to support you and make it work, whatever you do. They've got to do what's right for them and their families. There may be decisions that are made today that you say, why would the guy do it? It's his choice. It's for him and his family to make that decision, then go make it work.
No one pushed out the door. It was their decision, just as you said. And you said
or
Monday.
no one told to stay. Like, you have to stay. We don't do that.
You did tell them it's a big boys league. You mentioned that Monday when you were speaking.
And the other thing you find out is you're going to be in the D-League some. And we've made that statement a little bit. You're going to be in the D-League some because James was in the D-League. I can go right down the line. But here's the thing. Our players have gone to that league and by and large have done well. They've held their own. Not everyone. Some of them have struggled. But 90% of them have. And I would expect these guys would do the same.
Yeah, you feel though they're all ready. They've all got a good shot.
Well, would I like to have these guys back? Some of them, yeah, but it's still not my choice. You think, I'll give you an example. Jody Meeks, I thought, made a mistake. Guess what? I was wrong. Yeah. Jody Meeks did what was right for he and his family and has done fine. At the time, I'm like, you're a second-round pick. Why would you do that? He did. Would have been better for us and me if he came back? Yeah. But this is not about us at this point. This is about these young people. The issue Dakari had is he's playing behind 2 top 5 picks. Well, I'd like to play more. Yeah, but did he get better?
Well, we've lost our signal over at the Joe Kraft Center. Technology sometimes, just doesn't always
Not quite.
get it.
But we did get to hear some good comments from Coach John Calipari. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And coming up, we'll have more on.
Let's go back to Cal.
Okay.
We've received that signal. Let's go back now.
Like all of these kids, their workouts, their interviews are going to be vital for them.
Hi, live television, wonderful thing.
Yes.
Let's go to a break. Coming up, more on the Wildcats, and then we'll see the Wildcats at the podium.
We'll find out who will go, and will any of them stay? You'll find out next on the UK Sports Network. Welcome back to our live coverage. Last year some thought Dakari Johnson might be leaving, but he came back for another season and made another trip to the Final Four.
Yeah, the big center providing defense, providing rebounding off the bench, and the occasional scoring punch. Last year, as you mentioned, a lot of people thought Dakari might take the jump to the NBA. Obviously, he was not ready. He was still a little bit overweight, not quick enough for the NBA game. John Calipari saying at the beginning of this season, boy, Dakari is showing so much energy, running up and down the floor. And he was one of the guys I thought Cal referred to when he said, look, you have to play so hard for 4 minutes, and that's it. And then the next platoon will come in and so forth. And Dakari really, I thought, early in the season, he had a lot of stamina to him. He was a defensive guy that we saw last year against Wisconsin. He really had his way with Frank Kaminsky and helping shut him down. Dakari scored in a lot of double-digit games. Let's see, we got 6 games out of his first 8. He was at 10 points or better, but then only 5 times the rest of the way. So his minutes, they decreased. His scoring opportunities and minutes decreased a little bit throughout the year. But right now, looking like, at best, a late first rounder, more like an early second round pick.
Well, John Calipari talked about in his interview with Rob Bromley that Dakari was playing behind 2 top 5 NBA draft picks. And that was a challenge to get minutes, a challenge to get points. And so that was what he had to overcome to make his mark.
Well, Dakari also had to overcome just the personal pride thing, the ego thing of last year, hey, I played all these minutes, and now I am playing behind 2 potential lottery picks and the overall #1 pick if it comes to that. And Dakari Johnson, and we just got word over the last 24, 48 hours that he's going to test the waters and see what comes up. So Big Blue fans, however, will also remember Willie Cauley-Stein. Most people thought he would be a one-and-done guy. That didn't happen. The big guy played 3 seasons in Lexington.
And Lee K. Howard has a special look at a unique player.
Willie Cauley-Stein, 3 names that belong to one of the most uniquely talented college basketball players in the country.
Cauley-Stein, flying two-handed slam dunk.
At 7 feet tall, he's the unlikely face of the top-ranked Kentucky Wildcats and a future NBA lottery pick.
Like me, I'm just trying to keep on climbing, keep on, see how far I can get, and hopefully end up really, really successful. So that's really what motivates me.
Motivation has never been hard to come by for the eccentric Cauley-Stein.
Here comes Big Blue.
Likely the tallest art major in the country, with a style all his own.
You got to be cool in your own self. And then when you're cool in your own self, then it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks, and everybody else thinks you're cool because you don't get affected by what other people think about you.
However, there is one fashion statement he says he won't repeat.
When I did it, I was like, no, because my hair was so long, and it was like I was growing it out for a while, and I was like, no, why did I just do that?
Willie Cauley-Stein.
But then I was like, well, I already did it, so I might as well just own it and rock it, so that's what I did.
The Wooden Award finalist has come a long way since his days growing up in Olathe, Kansas, known more for his athleticism on the gridiron than the hardwood.
When I was younger, probably 8th grade, going into my freshman year, I was only 6'1", which is big for an 8th grader. I understand that, but it was fun, and there was a point where I was like, maybe I'm not trying to play basketball.
On the basketball court, his high-flying heroics are impressive to many, including Cauley-Stein himself. None more so than his posterizing dunk at Florida in early February.
Cauley-Stein with a spectacular slam.
When people ask me about it, it happened so fast that that it didn't happen fast. You know, it was like when I left, it was like I was in the air for so long, and then I had at least replay at least 150 times after I got on the bus.
Despite his success, this gentle giant has remained humble and is even surprised by his own popularity.
They'll follow you. Like, say if I was getting in my car and like went to the mall or something, and like followed you, that's a deep trip. That's like a 10-minute trip, and I'll get out of my car and the dude, like, yo, I think I just seen, like, I swear I seen this dude at the lodge. And like, you're like, yeah, I followed you. I didn't want to like bother you. I'm like, wow, like you really like took 10 minutes out of your day to follow me to get an autograph.
It was almost a given that Cauley-Stein would declare for the NBA draft after his sophomore season. But following an injury that prevented him from playing in the Wildcats' NCAA tournament run, he says he didn't want that to be his final college experience.
You know, when I went down with the injury last year, is I have to go back. I have to play in that. The feeling that you get, like I had the feeling. I can only imagine what the guys that was playing had, the feelings that they had, and I just really have to, live through that.
That was from an interview I did with him for This Is Kentucky Basketball, and it was really interesting to talk to him because he talked about how he is searching for his purpose, and I said, well, it would seem that your purpose is basketball, but he seemed conflicted at times about that. He said he loves his artwork, he loves basketball, and he said he sees it sort of as a means to an end to be able to provide for his family and just, be able to give back to them. But at the end of the day, he's just going to do his own thing, and such a great guy off the court as well. We had so many examples of him reaching out to children who are hospitalized, and there was a young girl who they posted a YouTube video of her saying that she loved him and wanted to marry him, and 4-year-old with cerebral palsy, and he went and had lunch with her and just did so many things that he didn't have to do, never sought the limelight, but just did it because he's a great young man.
Well, he's my favorite guy just because he tells it like it is.
Yes, that's for sure. Well, when we come back, the moment of truth.
The Wildcats share their announcement with the Big Blue Nation, and you'll see it live right here on the UK Sports Network.
Welcome back. While we're waiting for the news conference to begin, our Rob Bromley is with the Cats coach, John Calipari. Let's get more from their conversation.
Will there be some surprises, would you predict, on draft day when we get to that last
I don't
week
know
of June?
yet. I'm just trying to get through tonight. Let's get through this afternoon to see who's where, if they choose to go. And again, as this thing plays out, you're looking at it, these kids, it's a hard deal. I mean, but their dream has been this. We can't hold them back. I mean, kids come to college so you can get a job and work their way into society and have a family. And if they leave early, they leave early. If they create a company, if something good happens, if they have a job offer, they'll maybe take it and come back. If these kids leave, every one of them, their scholarship stays. They can come back whenever they choose to and finish up.
Looking ahead now to next year, and you look who you have coming back. Tyler Eulis.
We don't know yet. We don't know who we have coming back. We know Tyler's coming back and Marcus Lee because they asked me not to explore. Alex could choose to do something. I mean, that's his choice. I would think that because of the injury, it set him back a year. But you don't know. Beginning of the year, every NBA team thought he would have a breakout year. After the Combine, that's what they said to me.
Cal, congratulations on the Hall of Fame and on absolutely fantastic season. On behalf of the fans and the Big Blue Nation, it was absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
John Calipari.
All right, thank you very much, Rob. And listening to Cal, he's like a proud father.
Yes.
I mean, you have so many guys since 2010 when he had his first NBA class go with Big Cuz and John Wall and Bledsoe and everybody. That was such a unique start to what we have seen over the last 6 years. And I don't think anybody thought, when Rick Pitino got here, I don't think anybody thought how much success UK would have in a hurry. And when Calipari got here, I don't think anybody thought this many NBA guys would affect Kentucky the way they have.
And the talent that he was able to compile so quickly. We mentioned 2012 and how that was the record, the current record for the number of players in the NBA draft at 6. We could see 7 this season. The talent that he's been able to amass. And this season, though, so incredible to have that much talent and to get them to buy into the platoon system, to give up minutes. We look at their stats. Imagine what their stats could be if they were playing as much as these other players on other teams across the country. It wouldn't be 10 points per game. It would be 20. And they gave that up.
Well, John Calipari, they went with the analytics this year. And
Right.
He said this
Joel
is something,
Justice is the director.
He
right?
said, this is something I'm doing. I've never done this thing before. NBA people, Charles Barkley hates it, but he's an old school guy. He doesn't like the new thing, the analytics. But if that's what the NBA is going by, or a lot of them, then why not adapt and bring that in? And you have to credit the kids that are on this team for one reason. They are sacrificing a year in numbers-wise,
Right.
to produce many more numbers later, and I mean dollar numbers later. I don't mean, you could be a 20-point scorer and then go to the NBA and be a first-round, second-round pick guy, but you don't really know what you're doing when you get there. These guys have been trained in an NBA combine setting since they got here. And that is so attractive to players.
And that was unprecedented as well when he brought in all the NBA professionals and sat them down all at once so they could see these players. And then they will be going through that process again as well. And John Calipari also talking about the day after the Final Four game. He, instead of decompressing, he went and he met with all the players, and there you go. We are seeing a live look at the Joe Kraft Center. The players are making their way to the podium.
So let's go now to the Kraft Center. The announcement from John Calipari and the 7 Wildcats who could be turning pro as we speak.
Let me welcome everybody on this special day for these young people and their families. I got to tell you, we had a meeting to begin our year, and the meeting was based on them, and my comment was, I'm on a mission. My goal is to have 8 of you have an opportunity to be drafted if you choose to put your name in the draft. That was from the beginning of the year. They also knew that that meant that they would have to be the most selfless, sharing, sacrificing group of young people ever in this game if that were to happen. And they were. They also knew they'd have to do some historic things, even at this crazy university. Historic things. And they did. 38-0 to start a season, 38 wins, the most ever. I can go on and on what they did defensively. Things that are historic. We didn't quite get our goal of winning a national title in 40-0, but you can't, and it doesn't, take away from what these people, what they've accomplished. They had a 3.13 grade point average. They had a 3.0 last year, the guys that were with us. They look after each other. They're their brother's keeper. They keep them, each of them walking the right path and keeping themselves together. They also know if they choose, I'm hoping they all stay, if they choose to leave, their scholarship is here waiting on them when they choose to come back. During this year, it's about team. I think you all saw that. They shared, they sacrificed, it was about team. Now, it's about each individual up here making a decision, not based on what's right for this university, not based on what's right for me and our staff, what's right for them and their families. The way this works, I meet with each player after the last game, and truly it's the morning after the last game, and I ask, and this is every year, do you want me to explore your options? They all said yes. A few said no. We gather the information. We talk to about 20 NBA teams, maybe more. We let the parents talk directly to the NBA so there's no confusion. We have about a 5-minute meeting. Maybe. I'm not convincing anyone to stay, and I'm not pushing anybody out the door. This is their choice with their family. We've done that, and now it's time for these young people to let us know what they're going to do. think that maybe the easiest way is, if you've decided to put your name in the draft, why don't you stand up? Really? All right, there you go. I'm going to answer a couple questions. You can ask the guys questions. I have one or two questions, and then I'm going to leave it up to these guys. Questions?
Does the number surprise you?
Well, probably shouldn't say this, but if Alex didn't get hurt, it would have been 8. So no, it doesn't.
I guess along those lines, has Alex decided one way or the other?
Alex is going to go home and meet with his family. We have done some research for him. You know, it's unfortunate. It's a tough deal because he would be sitting here too. Alex comes back. He'll graduate in 3 years. He'll have his college degree, and he has an opportunity to do the things that he wants to do and reach his dreams too. All right, you got the players.
I mean, of course it was a tough decision for all of us, but I think this is all of our dreams, so we just want to chase our dreams, really. Somebody else say something.
We just wanted to chase our dreams, and we just felt it was the right time for us to take that next step in our careers and just pursue our goals and aspirations.
Kind of like both of them said, you know, it's a tough decision. You sit down with your parents, and like I said, like both of them said, you know, we're just all chasing our dreams.
Like these three said, you know, it definitely was a tough decision, but everybody up here, you know, wants to chase their dream and reach their goals.
Just like everybody said, this is our this is our dreams since we were little, and you know, we're just trying to go out and, you know, chase our dreams like they said.
Just like they all said, we all just chasing our dream, and it's a blessing to be in this position.
Yeah, just like they said. You know, it's the start of something big for all of us, and it definitely is a tough decision, especially how young we are and everything. But I mean, it's a decision that, you know, everybody in their family, you know, they got to make, and you know, we think, you know, it's the time to go.
For the three freshmen, Devin, Carl, and Trey, did you guys think coming in, now that you finished the year, did you think coming in you'd do this in a year, or did something change during the course of the year that made you decide now was a good time?
Just from the start of the year, you know, you just looking to be part of something better than yourself, and you just want to be part of a successful team. So we gave a bunch of ourselves just to this team this whole year, and coming in, you just don't think about NBA, you don't think about draft, you don't think about anything like that. You just think about how can we be the best team possible every night out. You know, we just did a great job of just progressing and just getting better every game, every practice, and just gelling in more with the team.
You know, I honestly didn't think I'd be in this position this early, but like Carl said, you know, going into the season, you just want to be a part of something special, and that's how this was. You know, I want to be a part of a special program like the University of Kentucky, and we wanted to make history, and you know, we did that. So I think, you know, once we were just all caught in the moment, that, you know, everything was just coming so fast towards us.
Like they said, I don't think we really focused on it coming in. I think we were more focused about our team goals and our team aspirations. And, you know, once the season ended, we got to focus more on our individual stuff.
For any of you guys leave behind a handful of people here, Devin in particular. I know you and Tyler were close. How difficult was it to sort of break that bond, and what kind of hands are you leaving this program in?
The bond's not broken. You know, I wouldn't put it like that because, you know, these are all my brothers still. This is still my family. And, you know, I'll be back to visit them, but, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like I had to make the best decision for myself. And I think next year with the recruiting class that they have coming in, you know, combined with the players that they have now, that, you know, they could be another special team.
Were any of you on the fence as recently as 24 hours ago, or was this pretty much decided?
You said, were any of you on the fence as decided less than 24 hours ago? Were any of you on the fence as decided less than 24 hours ago?
I kind of was, you know, me and my family sat down with Coach Cal yesterday, and, you know, we just had a meeting, and last night, you know, I just prayed on it, you know, and just really thought about it hard.
All right, you've been watching live coverage of the news conference. 7 Kentucky Wildcats entering the NBA draft, leaving Kentucky. Coach John Calipari said if Alex Poythress had not been hurt, we would have seen 8 players up here today. Incredible.
Yeah, it is. With the way Kentucky has dominated the NBA draft over the last several years, and if all of these guys can get to the NBA, my gosh. We're going to take over the universe in basketball, you know, at every level.
And there's an important date that's coming up, April 26th. So this wasn't a day that they didn't have to decide today, but this was just all of them coming together. And now Coach John Calipari can move on and continue the recruiting process for next season. But April 26th is when they have to.
Yeah, April 26th by midnight, April 26th, 11:59. That's when they had to say, yes, we're going pro or make an announcement, but they also have until June 15th, the early withdrawal deadline. So just because they say they are going now, if they don't sign with an agent, they can take themselves out later.
The key is if they sign with an agent.
Right.
Coming up, we're going to hear from some of the players. They will tell us about how they came to make their decisions.
Stay with us. There's much more to come here on the UK Sports Network.
A reminder, if any of these players changes his mind and has not signed with an agent, he can withdraw his name by 5 p.m. June 15th.
That's right. Once you sign with an agent, you're done. Let's now head back to the Joe Kraft Center where Rob Bromley is standing by with some of the Wildcats.
Well, that's right. 2 of the best big men in college basketball. As here, Willie Cauley-Stein is on my left and Karl Anthony Towns is on my right. And as Cal said when we talked to him a little while ago, if Dakari hadn't had to play behind these 2 guys, you know, he's pretty good too. But Willie, you know, a lot of people thought you might be gone last season. You make the decision this year. I know you have to feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot off your shoulders. You know, I was going to take that step last year and ended up coming back. I feel like everything happens for a reason. You know, I got a lot of awards and got to, you know, become a older brother to, you know, a lot of you know, good young kids coming in, and probably one of the best times of my life. So I felt, you know, coming back this year was, you know, the best thing that could have happened.
Where do you think you grew the most as a player?
Probably mentally, just, you know, knowing how the grind works, knowing how to balance everything out. Keep your mind like into everything, but at the same time, you gotta like, you gotta push some stuff aside, and that could be anything. And you gotta know, you know, really a lot of people thrive off you, or you know, you're bigger than, you know, you think you are. So a lot of it has to do if, you know, say you get in trouble or something. Like if I got in trouble, that affects everybody. Or if somebody else got in trouble, that affects everybody else in the circle. So you have to look at it like that in a mental standpoint.
It's a huge step up. What do you feel the biggest challenge is?
You said what?
Big step up going on to the NBA. What do you think the biggest challenge is that you're going to face?
I mean, I don't know. That's the exciting part about it.
That's great.
You know, the only thing I do know is you gotta work, and there's no getting past work. There's no trying to finesse work. So, you know, me going into the draft is knowing it's time for me to, you know, it's a job now. It's time to focus on that and try to get as good as you can, and however long you can continue to have that job that's your mindset.
You played one season with this guy over here on my right. How was that?
It was great. You know, playing beside him and battling him in practice and everything, you know, we kind of complement each other really well. You know, he was able to do things that I couldn't do, and I was able to do things that he couldn't do, and put us both together. You know, we just gelled really well, and you know, even off the court, you know, it was a blast. You know, Carl's a funny dude. You know, he's always going to make you laugh, and he's always going to have some conversation for you to talk about. That's for sure.
Carl, you showed us you could do a lot of things on the court. Talk about your decision and just playing one season but moving on now to the next level.
Just you sit down with your family, you sit down with the coaching staff, and you just look at your future and see what the best and the brightest option is. And we just felt that we came together, and we felt that for me to take that next step and next leap in my career, it was the right time. And we just made I feel in my heart it was the right decision, and I can't wait to explore my decision.
You came a long ways, you know, probably starting in the month of January, in February and March, your game got better and better. Talk about that and how you grew as a player.
That's a testament to the coaching staff. I mean, every game I've gotten better and better, and I've gotten more and more comfortable. When you play with such great talent as we have with Willie Cauley-Stein, Dakari Johnson, Andrew Aaron Harrison, Devin Booker, you just learn things from just watching them play and playing against them that you want to implement into your game. And being against them and having so many different styles on this team, I was able to incorporate different parts of my game and incorporate different things that I've never been seen or been taught before.
It had to be on your mind as the season went along. I mean, you were #2 in the mock drafts. You moved up to #1. How much did you think about it? And how much did you possibly consider returning?
I didn't think about it at all. When you're worrying about trying to win a national title, that's the least thing on your mind. That's the least thing. We went out there every game. No mindset on what the NBA was for us, if we were even going to think about it or anything. We just went out there and thought, as brothers and as a family, what can we accomplish today? And we did a great job of doing that every day, and that's what the best thing about this team was, the unity we had.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from the NBA, from people who are in the know?
That you just got to work hard. I could accomplish my dreams if I go out there and I work hard and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
What was it like playing with this guy?
It's a blessing. I mean, so many things that he can do that not a normal human being could do, especially at his height. It's amazing to see what he could do on the court defensively, offensively, athletic-wise. You know, I don't care. I'm making this leap to the NBA, but no matter where my career takes me, I'll never be able to play with another Willie Cauley-Stein.
The overall experience here, you were here 1 year, Carl, Willie, you spent 3 years here. You liked being a college kid here, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It has its perks, especially this high of an institution. And, you know, we're like professional athletes here. Like, the way people treat us is like a professional would in a different city. We're just, you know, get to live it as a college kid. And, you know, you're that young, it's cool. It's like, you're never going to feel that again. You're never going to have, you know, 50,000 people scream your name. You're never going to, once you take that leap, it's all, now it's not a group thing anymore. And that's probably the coolest thing about being in college is, you know, the community is just, it's kind of small. It's like a small town feel. you know, everybody's got your back, and it's just, you know, something that I'm definitely gonna miss. I'm gonna have to make a few trips back here. Just
you'll be welcome.
Because, yeah.
I'll be with you.
Yeah, you will too, Carl. Carl Anthony Towns, Willie Cauley-Stein, Devin Booker will join us from here at the Joe Kraft Center in just a minute.
You had right there two of the most intellectual guys that you will ever hear. Carl Anthony Towns, just a phenomenal, just a unique guy who has captivated a lot of people with the way, coming from Piscataway, New Jersey, coming in here, and the first time that we hear him, he's like, wow, this guy can carry on a conversation for days if you had to. And Willie, the deep thinker. He is the new Bill Walton without the other stuff Bill Walton brings to the table. Hopefully he'll have a career as like Bill Walton, at least in some of the successes with national championships. But Willie's a deep thinker. He loves the poetry. He loves this. He's
the book club with John Calipari. And I told him he is an old soul. The things that he thinks about. A 21-year-old saying, I'm trying to find my purpose in life. And, you know, reading these books that John Calipari gave him. And so he says he's ready. And that'll do it for now. It could be... Oh, okay. Let's go back to Rob.
Yeah, Rob's got a couple more players. Let's go to him.
Well, Devin Booker has joined us here, and Devin, one season at the University of Kentucky, and it's a memorable one for you. Were you on the fence about this decision? What was the process like just over the last few days?
Definitely. You know, there's a lot of thought that went into it. You know, sitting down with my family and, you know, sitting down with the coaches, and, you know, Coach gave me the information that I got back, and, you know, me and my family discussed it, and at the end of the day, you know, I just felt like I made the best decision for myself.
Is this something that you've been looking forward to all season, or did you pretty much keep it out of your mind as the season went along and you guys won game after game?
I kept it out of my mind because, you know, coming into here, you know, I didn't expect to be in this position that I am now. So, you know, I was just focused on getting wins and just being a part of something special. And, you know, when I was so caught up in the team, you know, it was just, you know, success was happening, and, you know, you don't even realize it, you know, while you're in it. So, you know, I never thought I'd be there this early, but, you know, I'm blessed, honestly.
You're a shooter. You can shoot the basketball. Your game, though, has grown in other areas. I know you feel over the year you spent here at UK.
Yeah, definitely. You know, just, you know, he'd hate me for doing this, but I credit Kenny Payne to a lot of that. You know, we spent countless hours in the gym since I first got here. You know, KP's been right there. You know, he's basically the blueprint to success, in my opinion. You know,
really?
you just stay close to KP. I mean, I have a relationship with all the other coaches, but, you know, KP is, you know, who I did most of my workouts with, and, you know, he just helped me every step of the way.
What's the thing you learned most from him?
Wow, there's so much. You know, he teaches you so many things on and off the court. So, you know, you know, I think he did a good job of, you know, keeping everybody so focused on getting wins instead of, like, you know, worrying about the draft and everything like that. So, you know, he just let us know throughout the season, you know, it's going to come. You just have to focus on getting wins and being a team first, and that's what we did.
You got a lot of things ahead in your career, but you'll never live what you lived this last 4 to 5 months, will you?
Oh, never. You know, people always ask me what was the hardest decision of my life, and, you know, it's this now. It wasn't coming to the University of Kentucky, because that was an easy decision. You know, being a part of a great program, a historic program, and a great team, you know, that was the easy decision. But, you know, leaving here is definitely the hardest decision I've ever had to make.
I know your dad's got to be proud. So proud of you, what you've done, and you know, he's had a lot to do with it, hasn't he?
Right. Both my parents are proud of me, and, you know, we've been discussing so much the last few days that, you know, they're just really proud of me. You know, I guess they're kind of lost for words too, but, you know, they're excited to see what my future holds, you know, as am I.
Well, now you have to, I guess, find an agent, or what's the process like there? How are you going forward with that?
Yeah, you know, you have to sit down and meet with a lot, but, you know, right now, you know, got to finish school first, you know, like 4 weeks left, so that's what I'm focused on right now.
Devin, thanks so much.
Thank you for your time.
Fantastic watching you play.
I appreciate it.
Devin Booker, moving on to the NBA draft, putting his name in after one season at Kentucky. Brian, Jennifer?
Thank you very much, Rob. A special player, a special group of guys, and 38-1. We'll never see this again, maybe.
Oh, we'll see. That'll do it for now. It could be a historic NBA draft for the Wildcats. We won't know that for a few more weeks, but they took the first step today.
Yeah, the players announcing they will enter their names into the draft. It followed an incredible year, quite a ride, which ended in the Final Four. For Jennifer Palumbo, I'm Brian Milam. We leave you now with a special look back at a special season, a moment from each victory. So enjoy.